A very good evening to all of you and welcome to follow our live broadcast from the University of Oulu pop-up space in downtown Oulu. Today our topic is Come to Study, Stay for Work, and we will be discussing how international degree students who graduate from the University of Oulu could be employed and made to stay in the city after graduation. As usual, our dear audience, you have the possibility to send questions for us via the address that is shown on the screen right now. The messages will be moderated by communication specialist Meri Rovha. But now it is my pleasure to welcome our three panelists, and they are Denzil Ferreira, academy researcher from University of Oulu, Jarno Väyrynen, people lead at Solita, and Angela Suorsa, career guidance designer from the University of Oulu. Welcome all.
Thank you.
Happy to have you here. I'm proposing that we could start with a short introduction round first, and maybe my question to all of you would be, who are you, what do you do, where you come from? The word is free, so to say. Denzil, could you go first, please?
Okay, I'm Denzil Ferreira. I'm originally from Portugal, Madeira Island, and I left the island to study abroad, and I met my future wife abroad, and she was from Oulu, and then I came here to study, and I stayed here, and I've been here for 10 years. So, yeah, that's me.
What a wonderful story. How about you, Jarno? What's your story?
Yeah, my name is Jarno Väyrynen, and I was born in Raahe, quite close to Oulu, and I did my master studies in the University of Oulu. And after that, I've been working in the software industry for, I don't know, more than 10 years at least. And I met also Denzil along the way, and now we are discussing here about the possibilities, what we have to offer to the students, and I'm excited to be here.
Wonderful. I heard that you had some sort of a background story, and we can go to that later on.
Yeah.
I think that will be a treat for our viewers. But Angela, last but definitely not least, what's your story?
Yes, my story is that I actually, I'm from Greece, and I came to Finland and to Oulu 25 years ago. So yes, you can come here to study and then you can stay for work. I came also as an international student in our Oulu University. I graduated as a diploma engineer. I also work in telecommunications, and then around 2015 I go back and having some more studies. And now I'm specialized in international talent acquisition. And recently, actually this year, I have, not this year, last year, I started in the University of Oulu as a career specialist and employability development specialized in international students, in our international students, and providing tailor-made services for the international students, especially the degree students. So I have living in Oulu more of my adult life, and I have made Oulu my home, and I hope that I will be a living example for other people also, that here is a very beautiful and nice place to live. I love Oulu as much as there where I have born.
Wonderfully put, and I think we have a great panel from different backgrounds and from different life situations to discuss our topic, as I said in the beginning, which is how to get international students to stay in the city. So the city of Oulu wishes that international students would stay in the city even after graduation, because the more opportunities and internationality we have here, the more attractive Oulu in itself becomes. But there seems to be some challenges. What are your takes on this statement over here? Who wants to start?
Okay, then
Yeah.
I will continue. I'm actually talking. This is a topic that I have every day in my work, and talking with people, with the students that looking to employed here in Oulu, and also I'm very actively talking and negotiating with the companies, Business Oulu and Chamber of Commerce. A lot of employers have finding as a bigger challenge the language, the Finnish language, which is not so strong, and it's not able to develop within 2 years like our master's degree program are, but it's also a very big, I find it more actually challenge the losing when the new students coming to a new country, international students coming to a new country, they're losing them a professional identity in a way. They cannot articulate them skills and make the employers to understand the previous work experience and the previous education. This is one thing. And the second thing is they're losing all the network that they have in their home country, and they have to start building a new network, a new professional network from scratch. And this is something that maybe they don't activate in the first year of them studies. And this is something that we should actually try to put more effort on this. This is actually my job. Mm-hmm. So they will be activated already in the first year of them studies, so they could have time to, by the time they're going to graduate, they will have a network, they will speak a little bit of Finnish better, and they will have also a solid professional identity here. Mm.
So communications and losing networks. Denzil, as an international person living in Oulu, does that sound familiar?
Yeah, sounds very familiar. When I moved here, I guess my only network that I had was the university, pretty much, and I left behind all the experience I had from working in Portugal as well as working in the US. And so in a way, along the way, I guess the difference was that I started early to build like a portfolio, let's put it this way, of projects and things that I built along the way. I'm a software engineer by training, so my master's was in software engineering, and then I did my PhD here in computer science. And along the way, I just kept, like in GitHub, a repository of the stuff I built during my studies, and that was quite helpful when I was applying for jobs, because then it was easy for me to show what I could do and give them examples of the things I was able to learn along the way. You know, I think a lot of students. I also teach at the university, so I notice that a lot of students don't really start thinking about this until it's too late. Like they are already finishing, or they are like on the last year of their education, when then they realize like, oh, I should have somehow kept a record of the stuff I did, even if it's, you know, just an academic assignment. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a lot of stuff that goes in there and to showcase what you learned and how you put things together, that it's very easy to forget when you go to a job interview, and then you need to remember these things, and if you don't have a place where you can actually showcase. And I think that's something that as an international student, and not just international, I mean even locals, I mean they would definitely benefit from this logging, let's put it this way, of milestones, so that you can actually see the evolution. So you could, for example, showcase, okay, this is how I started, and this is how I am right now, and how much did I learn along the process. And I think that's something that they need to do from the start. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very many different interesting points, and I think Angela could, from the university side, had a few comments about them, but I would like to bring in Jarno from the company perspective here. I think you, working at Solita, you've been hiring very many international people in your company and so on. What is your take on the discussion that we've had so far?
Yeah, they're excellent points that you both made. I joined Solita, my current company, in 2014. And in that time, our company was a little bit more than 200 people in only one country. Mm-hmm. So we were very Finland-centric at that time. And today we have offices in 6 countries. And during those years, we have transformed from a Finnish company to a Northern European kind of company. So many different cultures, languages mixing up. So I think this is a topical question, and I think that's why I'm kind of happy to be discussing this, because it's the thing that is happening right now. Things are becoming more and more international, and many people find ways to integrate and stay.
Do you agree on the things that we already discussed, so lack of networks and maybe the ways of putting what your skills are the things that affect one's possibilities to stay in the town where they graduated?
Yes, definitely. And my wife comes from Austria, and she was here in 2003 as an Erasmus student. That's when we met. And I think why she kind of managed to stay here was not only because of me, but I hope it's one factor. But she started to build her like relationships and friendships also independent of me. So she had friends, and it was not just my friends that she met, but she had her own friends. And I think that what enabled her to build roots here. And it was for sure much easier than a year later come back permanently, I hope, permanently here. And that's what I think, that if possible, you should try to mingle with the communities also outside study or outside work.
Yeah, that is very important. So when I met my wife in US, I actually had been to Oulu a year before during the summer, during the Ubicom summer school, which is organized by the University of Oulu. And I was here a year before during the summer, and I really liked the city. And it's interesting that, you know, destiny allowed me to meet my wife. And then during the time I was visiting here, the first time, Professor Timo Ayala, who is the unit lead in our research group, he actually asked me, would you consider doing a PhD in computer science here? And at that time I was studying in the US. I was still doing my master's, and I thought that, well, I don't know, maybe, yeah, you never know. And lo and behold, I did come, and I've been here ever since. And so I guess in the beginning, a lot of my network was around my wife's friends, basically, because I was just starting school, and then I started meeting other students in school, and then that's how I also got to establish my own roots here and have my own friends. And then, you know, you go into hobbies and you start meeting other people, including, you know, people who eventually might provide you with an opportunity, like working somewhere for a while or anything like that. So I was working for a while at the Center for Environmental Respiratory Health with the Professor Jouni Jaakkola, and, you know, that experience happened because you know, I got to meet Jouni, and then he was asking, oh, do you think you would be able to build something for us to collect data about patients with asthma and the symptoms they have? And, you know, this kind of pro bono, let's say, experience allowed me to get to know him, and then, you know, this kind of builds up this network, like we say that it's very important. And you know, sometimes these happen very organically, and it's not forced. It's something that just happens because we meet other people. And I think that's something that nowadays it's even more important, because, you know, you need to make these kind of connections to kind of encourage you to stay, right? So, yeah.
Yes, actually, I will take a point of each of you. I think, first of all, I will go back to the portfolio and that a good record of what you are doing, and try to be active during all your studies. Those 2 years is not much time, even if it seems so. And actually, my job and what I'm offering is kind of workshops that is focusing international students, like how to create your own portfolio. To promote yourself with your own portfolio is one of the workshops, or how to network in a new country, how to tap a hidden job market, which is up to 80% actually here in Oulu, by networking and so on. And a good record of what you are doing and be active is what will in the end show in your job application documents and also in your interviews, and that will exactly help to articulate your skills and competence to to employer here in Finland. And about the roots, that is even equally important, that you stay active to create own roots and not standing in top of your degree and university and be isolated in Linnanmaa, like we can see a lot of students doing that, and then just wake up a month before you're about to graduate, because if you come in front of my desk 1 month before, it will be really very limited thing what I can offer. But if you just come from the very first year and say, hey, I'm interesting, then it's a lot of things that we can work off. And you have time to create own roots and find and see if this is a place that you can call home, like I have done for 25 years.
Yeah, and exactly. It's like if you know 5 more people as your friends, they know tens of people, so they can pinpoint you to any opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
So every single person that you get to know counts.
Exactly.
Definitely. I think there's a famous saying that a tree without its roots is a dead tree.
Yes.
So it definitely applies to this situation over here. We need a 360 solution, social solutions, practical skills and everything. There was a recent study done by the University of Helsinki, and they found that international graduates face many difficulties, from language difficulties to the lack of networks and even racism. So there's a variety of different things that they have to sort of like face. So you've already proposed many ways to help students. We can get back to them later. But how can we get the initial contact? Because that's probably the hardest thing. How to take the first step and get into the circles. Any ideas on this topic?
Hi. Say hi.
That's a good
start.
beginning.
That's
Wonderful beginning.
Yeah, that's a good start. But I would say, like, you know, at the university, especially the University of Oulu, they have these science days that they organize, and they have, you know, the student guild parties and other things. Of course, now because of the virus that's going around, you know, I think it becomes a bit harder, especially if you're remote and you're not here. And I think that aspect of mingling and networking becomes harder. But I guess in that sense, I know there are IRC, like this EERC. There are student channels for that in Oulu, where the students can get to know each other virtually, I guess. And I know that they organize some events virtually for these things. Yeah, I guess at this point in time, it's a bit hard to organize these things. But once we get back to normal, I would say this kind of events is something that the students should definitely go, because, you know, I met Jarno just by chance. My firstborn was born on the same day as his first child. So we met at the hospital, which is quite interesting. And then
you probably said hi to each other.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And then, you know, we got to know each other. I guess it was also the fact that we were both parents at the same day.
Yeah.
So our kids share the same birthday. So it's quite interesting. And then we just kept in touch ever since. So it's, you know, and then now I'm working with Solta because Jarno also, you know, I've heard him talk about the work that they do there. And then I got, during the time that I was at home, working remotely for the university, I actually tried to build a mobile app for doing contact tracing. And, you know, destiny, the way, I don't know if it's destiny, but it's just a coincidence that Solita is also the one who's building Koronavilkku. And so this kind of led me to also meet Simo Kekäläinen, who is the lead of the Koronavilkku development, kind of keeping things together. I met with him, and then we were talking, and then, you know, this kind of led me considering also, you know, maybe joining Solta to help them build the Koronavilkku, and then, you know, this took it from there. And, you know, it's hard for us to anticipate or predict where would this person that I just met in a hospital room would take, like, 7 years later.
Yeah.
So
And we
yeah.
just like when we were watching the kids playing and eating some birthday cake,
Yeah.
we might be talking also about software. And
Yeah, exactly.
I noticed that Denzil knows a lot about coding. So then I was able to pass him to the interviews. I had nothing to do with the decisions, so you earned your own place over there. But
Yeah.
it was really a couple of coincidences.
Exactly.
A couple of wonderful coincidences,
Yeah,
one
yeah.
might say. Angela, how about from the University of Oulu perspective? I know that the university is conducting this international student barometer quite often. So are these the kind of things that international students are facing, and how well is the university reacting to the situation, even in the corona times right now?
Yeah, well, yes, of course we have those parametrics and surveys, and we are actually looking and try to see the best of our abilities, we are able to actually see the needs and then react to that. I think that my new position is one reaction to these needs. So I'm and also try to, like I explained before, to provide custom tailor-made services for the international students, and really activate them as soon as possible and inform them. And I think also that we try to, I will stop to that hi. A hi can, or hello can put you a long way. So they have to also be themselves active as well, and looking what is around. The other thing is that, of course, in 2 years master programs we are asking for also for the international students really much to achieve in 2 years. So of course I also understand that from them side as well.
Of course.
Yep.
Yeah,
I was going to add, so one thing that I kind of noticed also while teaching is that it seems that international students, they tend to congregate towards those who are from the same country. And so in a way it kind of shields them a bit from any outsiders, and in a way that's something that it might not help them at the end, because the more they network, the better. And if they just close themselves because of same language or same culture, it will down the line hinder their ability to network. And I think they should be open to this kind of thing. This is just an observation of what I've witnessed in group formation. Like when we do an assignment, like a team, they tend to just they're from the same location. They tend to do that. Of course, if we do like randomly assigned, then that doesn't happen. But if we allow them to choose, then that's what happens. So maybe that's something that when we're thinking about facilitating this kind of network at the university level, this could be something that should be taken into account.
I think at least during my study times, I used to be this kind of student tutor for the incoming exchange students. I guess that's one of the reasons I met my wife as well. But that helped to make people from other backgrounds to meet. And I guess also the exchange students were then able to meet with a few local people at least, which led then to like some other bigger parties where you meet again new people. I don't know what's the current status with this tutoring kummi thing.
Yeah.
Is it still?
It's still
Continue,
ongoing.
yes, it still continues strong, and it's actually my unit that organized it. Salla Herrala is the one who is actually responsible for it, and we put a lot of effort for rebranding and reboosting that whole concept because it's working so well. Yes,
it was a great experience, and I couldn't imagine that how my life would have turned out if I didn't take part in that. So definitely the experience is a little bit like being an exchange student in your own city.
Yeah.
So you get to really like see things from different angle.
It's a definitely rich experience. Jarno, I would also like to ask from your transformation point of view in Solita. So are there any learnings that you've sort of come up with throughout these years when you made the transformation from a completely Finnish company to a Northern European international company? What kind of things came up during this?
Yeah, good question. I think my answer is that we have usually done things in our own way in Solita. So also with this language and culture thing, we have taken it very gradually. So not like a big bang and everything must be in English from tomorrow, but rather we have given it time. And like first we maybe had the biggest Slack channels, the conversations are happening in English and the intranet, and there are still a lot of places where we are using only Finnish, and in some local channels they must be using like, I don't know, Swedish and Estonian and German as well. So I think for us it has worked pretty well to kind of allow things happen in their natural rhythm, but at the same time understand that the official communications start to be in English so that everybody gets the essential information, and of course that try to make easier for people without, for example, Finnish language skills to find projects. We need to make the attitudes, like try to influence the attitudes of our customers. Many different things make the totality.
I can add to that. So I've been at Solita for 6 months now, and I've worked on 2 different projects. And in one of the projects, sometimes it happens that someone has difficulty expressing themselves in English, and of course they ask, "Oh, can I say this in Finnish?" And that's totally fine because the teams are also mixed. So I was English, another teammate was Finnish, and so they were able to take notes of what the customer was trying to explain. And at the end of the day, it's a communication kind of need, right? And so I think myself, I do understand quite a lot of Finnish already, and having that didn't make me feel inferior in any way. Sometimes it's just easier to speak your own or your native language to explain something that is hard to explain in English, and so that is totally fine. And I guess myself as an international worker, I think I need to be willing to accept that, and be willing to maybe listen and try to understand what is it that the person was not able to express, and also learn the language on itself. And this happens organically also. So, yeah.
So there's a lot of understanding going on, balancing the things that are happening, and very interesting stories. We've been now talking about the challenges of what kind of things we need. So we talked about social skills, balance between studies and meeting friends, finding these practical skills like honing your CV and so on. But I want to shed a light on also the things that are being done well already. What kind of things are good? But the people can already say that, hey, this is working really well.
Yeah, maybe I could go first in this one. So already more than 10 years ago, when I worked for Nokia, like many others, I met people from so many different countries and backgrounds. There were people from China, India, Pakistan, Russia, Poland, of course, Sweden and Germany, and I think they all just were kind of working for the common goal. So I think that somehow software industry is probably a forerunner when it comes to employing people with different nationalities or languages, because the coding happens kind of in English.
Yeah.
And the communications, so I think in that sense it's probably easier than in many other industries. So I think that's going already pretty well and for a pretty long time. So there are a lot of jobs.
Yeah, so I've supervised a handful of master's students' theses, and when they are job hunting, a lot of the time it's the like. One way that I like to describe Oulu to the students is that it's like the Silicon Valley of the North. And this, in a way, it is what Oulu is. There's a lot of industry here, especially in the IT sector, networks and electronics and software engineering. So if the student area of research or practical training is within these, it's relatively simple to find a job that would be quite open to not have to deal with Finnish requirements. Let's put it this way. So I think that's one way to see it. And of course, this might also be other cases, like if you're learning how to cook, you don't need to speak to cook, right? So it's like I mean, it depends on what is your area of expertise or your studies. Of course, if you're doing Finnish studies or like communication, maybe Finnish will be required. So I think it will depend a lot on what you want to do. So yeah.
Definitely.
And actually, I have pretty good news. We have started this year with very strongly with Oulu at Your Service, which is an event that actually wake up, I can say also the city to translate everything and have everything translated in English. So bring and show to our international students that they're not only Linnanmaa, it's also a very strong center, a beautiful city, what can offer a lot of things, just a few kilometers from our campus. And I have also very good news that since this February, we start the Talent Hub, Oulu Talent Hub, which is a new ecosystem between the University of Oulu, the University of Applied Science, and Chamber of Commerce and Business Oulu. And we try to create a new ecosystem that we collaborate very close together for the employment of our international, for better employment of, or maybe I could say increasing the employability of our international students in the area and keeping them here. So we're waiting to see what's going to be the results, and we have recruited quite many people that focusing on this. So this is very, very positive. I think I'm very glad to see how that will go.
Sounds wonderful. So a lot of events coming up and services for international people.
Yes, and we are building the ecosystem of near cooperation with the trade industry, academia, and the city. So
yes,
very strong.
We can celebrate that. Denzil, you had your hand up.
I was also going to say that since I've been here, one thing that I've also been witnessing is the services, like banking, transportation. They all offer services in English. Like you go to any website of any bank, they have English as an option. Even the mobile app for you to do your daily transfers and things like that, it's in English. And that's something that in the beginning it wasn't like that. So when I arrived here, I had to have been here for, I don't know, I needed to be here for 6 months or something until I was allowed to even open a bank account. It was something like that. And now that's not the case. Now you arrive, if you have your study rights, you can open your account and you're ready to go. I mean, these are things that are changing, and I think in that way, I think it's also all becoming more open to international intake of anyone, basically, not just students, but anyone. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can only speak for the software industry that I know best, but there we have the situation that we are constantly trying to recruit new talents, and I think the local university with the local people will not be enough. So I think we need also newcomers from other countries, and I'm very optimistic that they will find jobs, and we companies will be fighting that we will get the best out of the best. Yeah. So in that sense, I think the situation looks pretty good.
Wonderful. So job opportunities, services for international students, and then of course, as it was, I think, research, Finland is the best non-native English-speaking country in the world. I've heard about that. So you can get your services in English too. We've had a wonderful discussion going on all the time, but I wonder if we've got any questions from the audience. So I would be asking Meri Rova, communication specialist from the University of Oulu. How does viestiseinä, how is it looking like?
Well, thank you, Simo. We indeed have questions and comments also here. So maybe we should start from the comment, I suggest. And it goes like this. I think one of the major reasons why international students are having difficulty to get a job is because of a lack of information about the industry, trade unions, available employers, information about companies, and key players related to each study program.
I guess you.
Yes, that is actually, I totally agree. I can see that every day when I talking with the students, and that is why we are creating this kind of services, and we taking into account, we listening very carefully to what they have to say and try to point them in the right direction, provide the services and develop it towards it.
Yeah, and I think it partly goes back to the previous topic of networking. So just knowing a few more people who know a few more people, it can make all the difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I cannot stress enough how important it is that they will be also active, and networking is not going to somewhere that is the first thing. For those people who haven't networked before, I have to give that tip. You never go and ask, I need a job. Networking is creating relations and creating professional relations that then, as we can see, long later or in some short period of time will actually help us to find a job. And
I have a question. Maybe you've said it before, but where do the students go to find your services?
Yes, they can, first of all, we are visiting the degree programs actively. We're providing workshops actively that they can find us. And then we have a special help desk, opiskelun tuki at oulu.fi. And they can contact us, and they can have also sessions one-to-one that we can prepare them for work interviews. We can give them information about the work, the work market statistics or the work market possibilities. We can help them to exactly answering this question to how to start looking and where to look, and then also job application papers and the basic LinkedIn, professional branding, so on.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Meri, any other comments or questions?
Okay, let's go forward. Searching for a job requires a full-time dedication. So how students are supposed to balance between completing their studies on time, dedicating time for a job search, and personal life?
Well, I guess nowadays, at least in my case, I've used in the past LinkedIn. I just activate the job alerts. So that way, if a company posts a job advertisement in there, I will be notified. So instead of me actively searching, the search comes to me. So I think that's one way to kind of deal with this. But of course, at the end of the day, you will need to go, or you'll need to be available for the interviews. You'll need to be available to demonstrate your skills, and sure, that will take time. But I mean, if we're talking about something that you do that can give you a chance after you graduate to find a job, I mean, why wouldn't you spend that time to do that? But of course, it's a balancing act, and it takes time. Of course,
Yeah,
it does.
and I'm reading myself a lot of job applications, and I'd give this kind of tip that try to focus on the quality rather than the quantity. So if you're just shooting the same application to 200 companies without really bothering to figure out what they are actually doing, it's quite likely that it will get less attention. But try to first find out which companies actually interest you. Do they make things that matter to you? And then try to tailor the application and the cover letter
Yeah.
as much as you can, because that really stands out of the crowd.
Yeah.
So then once you get to the interview, then it's all up for grabs for you.
Mm.
Yeah, this is something that I actually every day say to the students. We are not rich enough to afford low quality job applications. So make it account every time. Be sure that this is a company. Read carefully the job application. Use all the tools like LinkedIn, Denzil mentioned. And then also I have another thing to offer to them. In my unit, we have also study counselors, and we are offering time management workshops. They are very welcome. They are throughout the year, and we are offering it available for anyone, or they can contact actually help desk and get directly guidance how they can use time management tools and techniques so they can actually balance the life, the studies, and the job hunting.
Wonderful questions and wonderful answers. Meri, I think we could take a couple more.
Okay, let's go on. There are at least 2 very good questions left. So, one obstacle is that not all companies necessarily prefer or are aware of benefits of hiring foreign employees. Attitudes and benefit awareness should be worked on. How could University of Oulu, companies and other interest groups address this challenge?
Well, I can start in this. We have now launched just a few weeks ago the Talent Hub, like I say, and also we are actively sending newsletter informing the companies about the possibilities that they can have. And of course, then I'm actively the word of mouth. I just was talking about this kind of opportunities to every time that I met and collaborate with any company. Just now we have arranged a meeting for next week to inform about all our possibilities that we have. So.
Yeah.
Connections, organic.
Exactly, networking. This is what we're talking. And
yes, and I think that nowadays many companies talk about diversity, but I think we need to look at the diversity not only in the context of the actual work or the hard skills, but also what do you bring to the culture, what do you bring to your workmates. You bring also all these other aspects of your life, and what do you know about, I don't know, your own country and the stories and everything, and that enriches the whole environment and probably makes the environment more creative. So I think this is one of the benefits of diversity.
That was a very beautiful way to put it, definitely. Meri, was there one last good question that you said that we're
Yeah,
gonna get?
there is
Yes,
actually.
wonderful.
So, one important activity is to offer foreign students and researchers opportunities and support in starting their own businesses in Oulu. There should be a comprehensive selection of step-by-step services at the university, from making a business plan to start up financing and facilities, mentoring, etc. Is this kind of service already available in Linnanmaa?
Yes. Yes, there is. The Center for Innovation is doing that, exactly that you, as a student or as an entrepreneur, let's put it this way, you meet with them and they help you come up with, or put together, not come up because the idea needs to come from you, right? So, but they help you refine your business plan. They try to see how you can get funding to whether there is venture capital or Business Finland or whatever, so that it kind of helps you establish a business. So that kind of service definitely exists. Yeah.
Yes, I would also like to add, of course, this is the Innovation Center is a place that they have to contact. And also, if they are interested to develop them skills, they're interesting for entrepreneur, then they can have those special minors that they can also use and take some extra credits and learn more about this. And then actively, I think now this is something that probably Simo have to tell, but Tellus also have a lot of events that they are helping people to actually pursue the dreams and if they're planning to have them own business. But I think Simo can tell more about this.
Yeah, I can definitely add that there are a lot of courses like the entrepreneurship minor degree that you can take as a student and learn about these entrepreneurship things even before you decide to become an entrepreneur. And even in Tellus, there's a lot of activities, entrepreneurship events, and some of the courses are also being held there. So as a student, if you want to take part in those, just check out all the different information from the university website. There's loads to choose from, definitely. Meri, thank you so much for the questions, and dear audience, thank you so much for the questions and comments. I think they were particularly good.
Thank you.
And now, I think we've had a wonderful discussion about the general things about how international students and people can settle in the city and find opportunities. But let's get back to Oulu for the very final question. And I think this is for all of you from your respective industries or your backgrounds. You can decide what the perspective is. But if we think about Oulu, what are some concrete ways that we can do to help international people find opportunities here and stay in this lovely city of ours?
Well, I guess the city as a whole has already organized quite a few things. So, for example, they have this international market happening during the summer that they organize all the time. And there's also the cultural day that they do that at the university. I've seen that. And you know, I guess the city, you know, sometimes they organize these like publicly open events, like an artist comes and whatever. I mean, these kind of activities are opportunities for people to know other people, and I think like we mentioned before, you never know who you bump into, right? So I bumped into him in the hospital. So it's like these things happen, and you know, you just need to keep your heart open for these things. And I think that's the thing. So you just need to be open to absorb what Oulu has to give. And I think that's the only way really to fall in love with the city and fall in love with the people in the city. And I guess the smell of the factories also.
Definitely, so more and more events where
Yes.
people can meet. How about you, Jarno?
Yeah, I think there is clearly this need for new talent and new people, and as there was mentioned, that there is sometimes a lack of knowledge. Where are these jobs and how to find them? And I put my eyes and hopes to technology and, I don't know, new software and new apps and everything. So maybe we will find ways to make students and companies connect better, some kind of dashboards. There are 20 jobs to be taken, and I think even if there are many websites, that there might lack this kind of holistic view of the overall picture. And I think something like that will probably be thinking about in the future. And I think that would be very helpful.
Wonderful. Industry collaboration, there we got it.
Yes, so I will totally agree. So we're planning again to have all at your service events, which bringing all the city organizations near to Linnanmaa and near to the students, so they could really know what's happening in the city and how important that is to, like Denzil said, that fall in love and want to make Oulu them home. But I have also very high hopes in the Oulu Talent Hub, which is actually just launched. And I hope that this will help with the collaboration with the industry and the academia and the city to help that we're going to give more opportunities here in Oulu, and we can keep them here and not let them wait.
So accessibility and services.
Exactly.
I think also just to add, I think one aspect of the international students that I think is a big challenge is that when they come study here, is that Kela, the residence permit ends when their study ends, or the study right ends, or at the end of the year or something like that. And so the time frame that they have to try to find a job sometimes can be limited. And I think I think that this is why it's important for them to start the job hunting even before they graduate, because I think if they have a job offer waiting for them after they graduate and they can start immediately, I think they will be in way better position than just leaving it for the last minute, because then they're running against the clock basically, and that's I guess the one of the challenges.
Well, I have to say, yes, please.
Yes.
Come to me as soon as possible. In your first year, you already have to start job hunting.
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful. That was a clear piece of advice what to do when you start studying at the university. I think this was a recipe for success, and I would like to thank you all for taking part in the discussion. It was absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Denzil, Jarno, and Angela.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to you also, our dear viewers. The shows will continue tomorrow, and the topic of discussion will be urbanization in the north. So hopefully you'll be joining and tuning again to the University of Oulu's pop-up studio. But before that, stay tuned, stay international, and most importantly, stay healthy and safe. Bye-bye.